Netflix docuseries? Here we go! Hi, I'm Judy the Time Traveler and this is my lifestyle time travel blog, and today we have a bit different video. We are going to talk about Netflix docuseries, specifically two of them. I wasn't planning to talk about these things, but things are getting out of control, and the reason is sensationalism. And I think that this irritation of mine, to put it lightly, has grown more and more over the past couple of months. And I'm speaking as a person with a PhD in archaeology. So let's talk about Netflix educational content, primarily Queen Cleopatra and ancient apocalypse. First, let's focus on the thing that made me do this video, Cleopatra, the new series. Wait, let me get computer. So let's see how Queen Cleopatra is categorized on Netflix. So it is categorized as TV dramas, historical documentaries, docuseries, social and cultural docs, and docudramas, and it is described as exciting, nothing more, that's it. So the thing that triggered all the experts, Egyptologists, historians and archaeologists, and I have talked to my Egyptologist colleagues, is that Cleopatra is played by a black actress. I have no issue with her, but the people who were in charge knew what they were doing. They knew that they were making a bold move, so they did it on purpose. And even though based on the trailer you would think that Cleopatra's lineage is the focal point of this docuseries, it is just glossed over, with experts saying that we don't know for sure who her grandmother and mother were, and that her grandmother could have been someone from the royal court, and that it was possible that she was an Egyptian. But even if she was partially Egyptian, it doesn't mean that she was black. Netflix just chose that option and ran with it. And if we are talking about the production value, I was expecting more. The Romans were basically represented as the bad guys, which is understandable because we are following Cleopatra's story, but it would have been interesting if we could have seen both sides, the Roman and the Egyptian side. The dialogues are cringy, Caesar and Mark Antony were represented as weak, and Octavianus Augustus as a bit of a psychopath. Here I'm only talking about the dramatization of the story. Everything for the views. The trailer was pure sensationalism designed to provoke people. They were certainly counting on that, but I don't know if they were expecting so much backlash. The whole internet went crazy. Experts went nuclear, Egyptians filed lawsuits, Greeks were mad as well, and of course there were people with political and social agendas who saw this as an opportunity to fight their own battles. Let's cover the basics of Cleopatra's lineage. She belonged to the Ptolemaic dynasty that took over Egypt when Alexander the Great died in 232 BC. First, there was a huge mess when Alexander died. The kingdom was too big to be governed by the generals, so at first Ptolemy I Soter was chosen to be satrap of Egypt, in the name of the joint kings Philip III and Alexander IV. However, Ptolemy wanted more, and after the war with other Alexander's generals, he positioned himself as the king of Egypt. She came from that line, the Greek-Macedonian line. So Ptolemy had several wives, but the mother of his son and successor, Ptolemy II, was Berenike I, and she also came from Macedonia. And then they decided that everything should stay in the family, so they arranged marriages between brothers and sisters, or at the beginning of the dynasty, cousins. The first Cleopatra was the exception. She was the daughter of Antiochus III the Great, king of Seleucid Empire, and Queen Laodike III, whose father was also Greek and mother was the Princess of Pontus. So after the marriage between Cleopatra I and Ptolemy V, most of their children were called either Ptolemy something or Cleopatra something. And they married each other, creating a clear family line. Maybe not so healthy, but certainly clear. The issue arises with Cleopatra's grandmother and mother. It is not 100% clear who they were, but the most plausible options also come from the same line. Probably they were sister wives of her grandfather and father. Either Cleopatra IV or Berenice III were her grandmother, and Cleopatra VI was probably her mother. And even though the experts do their best, there is a discrepancy between what you hear and what you see. And we all know the first rule of storytelling: show us, don't tell us. The visuals make a huge impact. So this was a calculated move by Netflix. We are going to give you a decent story, but we'll make it controversial. And again, the viewers who want to know more about the past are the victims of the spectacle and business. All the focus is on the wrong thing. Not on Cleopatra, but on the producer, director, the company. And personally, it is so sad to me, because finally there was such a hype around a history documentary, but for all the wrong reasons. And I know that some people won't even watch this, and I see it as a missed opportunity. Or maybe we should borrow something from their playbook, put some clickbait thumbnail and scandalous title, and hope for more likes and views. And Netflix did this before, and for me it was even worse than Cleopatra because it was a pure lie. A couple of months ago, Netflix premiered a series called Ancient Apocalypse. And let me get to my computer again to see how this is categorized. So it is categorized as docuseries, social and cultural docs, US TV shows, and it is described as provocative and investigative. Instead, it was just painful to watch. So what did we have here? A journalist, Graham Hancock, who was trying to spin the narrative and convince us that there was an advanced Ice Age civilization, some superior society that was lost in an apocalypse, but that its survivors introduced agriculture, different lifestyle, and monumental architecture to hunter-gatherers around the world. That these innovations happened overnight. So not true. For example, the process of cereal domestication lasted several thousand years. First from collecting wild cereals, then selecting the more suitable specimens, and then slowly changing their characteristics from plants that can reproduce by themselves to plants which reproduction is dependent on humans. We have extensive evidence for wild cereal consumption by the hunter-gatherer communities in the Near East even from 25,000 years ago. First as supplements, and then they started introducing them more and more in their diet, with more emphasis on their domestication some 12,800 years ago because of the lack of other food due to Younger Dryas, a cold period that lasted until 11,700 years ago. And this is just one example of false information that can easily be fact-checked that Mr. Hancock is spreading. Again, a journalist, not an expert, not an archaeologist. And there is no warning on Netflix that this documentary is pseudoscience. And the archaeologists are fighting back. Even two archaeologists that were featured in the series said that their interviews were manipulated and presented out of context. The Society for American Archaeology has even published an open letter to Netflix asking them to reclassify Ancient Apocalypse as science fiction, as it can fool people into thinking that it gives relevant information as it is classified as docuseries. You can find the letter online, I'll link it in the description. So this was just a short rant and something that I had to get off my chest. Netflix, if you want to do the educational content, great, fine, but make real documentaries. Give the budget to the right people. Give them a shot in making something entertaining but factual. Don't do this. This sensationalism is just damaging to the professionals and the viewers, and it is sending a wrong message. Thank you for watching this video, and you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share, send to all, and we'll see you in our next video. Or on Netflix. Or on F1 TV. Bye!